Dear friends and viewers, this video is about the write-up on article written by the Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal in the Times of India newspaper on children's education. The Education Ministry reaffirms its commitment to child rights and education for all. What is the ground reality? Though we have many different sets of opinions in the article written by the Union Education Minister on many counts, due to time constraints, we confine ourselves to a single point. In the said article, the Minister for Higher Education mentioned that, I quote, "The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act came into force in 2009, making free and compulsory education to children between the ages of 6 to 14 a fundamental right. In this connection, we make our viewpoints hereunder so as to make certain things in right perspective, understand the Right to Education Act in the present scenario. Dear viewers, Article 21A was newly inserted in the Indian Constitution by the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002, which came into force on 1/4/2010. Article 21A states that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 6 to 14 years in such manner as the state by law determine. This is the constitutional position. After the enactment of the Right to Education Act 2009, the Supreme Court of India have upheld two things in connection with this Right to Education Act. One thing, the Supreme Court of India in 2012 have held that in order to ensure compliance of Article 21A of the Indian Constitution, it is imperative that states must have qualified teachers and infrastructures. This is the pertinent point made by the Apex Court of India. It is pertinent to point herein that neither qualified teachers have been appointed nor the basic infrastructure facilities have been made to improve the quality of learning environment in schools. The Supreme Court of India in 2011 had held that the right of a child should not be restricted only to free and compulsory education, but should be extended to have quality education without any discrimination on the grounds of their economic, social and cultural background. Under these backdrops, we are hereunder make our criticism the larger interest of children. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, on many counts, it has very positive aspects. Since its inception, a lot of criticism had been made against the Right to Education Act 2009 for its serious limitations. But on the other hand, it has many child-friendly provisions for realization of children's fundamental right to complete 8 years of elementary education. One such provision is section 16, which relates to the prohibition of expulsion and of holding back a child in the same grade. That is popularly known as no detention policy. On the other end, the National Education Policy 2020 of the present dispensation fixes examination for the children at 3rd standard, 5th standard, 8th standards against the principles of the Indian Constitution and against the verdicts of the Honorable High Court of India. The main intention of the Right to Education Act ought to follow that the principle of no detention. That is the most important thing. But on the other hand, the National Education Policy, which fixes examination for 3rd, 5th and 8th students, would definitely make a lot of dropouts from schools, particularly those of the marginalized sections of the society. The scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and the most backward communities would be the worst sufferers of this new education policy. My point is that though the parliament had made many discussions and debates on the Right to Education Act, but the present government of India had brought in one new legislation, that is Act, the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Amendment Act 2019. According to Section 6.1, there shall be regular examination in the 5th class and in the 8th class at the end of every year. This was the policy framed by this present government under this Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Amendment Act 2019, but it says universal education to all without discrimination of social, economic and cultural backgrounds. Our point is that the government of India, if it is sincere in implementing the policy of giving universal education to all, it should definitely give way for the marginalized students to continue their studies without any examination for 3rd standard, 5th standard and 8th standard. This is our cause of worry, and we appeal to the Minister for Higher Education. If you are sincerely interested in implementing the provisions of the Right to Education Act, you should desist from following these things which are under the guise of the new education policy, which determines the and prohibits the children from the marginalized community to complete their primary, middle and higher education. Thank you so much.